guys, it's your girl Yummy.com. Thank you for joining me and staying tuned and being here to watch another Tipsy movie review. I really gotta change that name. It is not a movie this week. It's a show. Yeah, it's a show. Okay, so basically Netflix has dropped a show called So Not Worth It, which is a Korean drama, which we know I love, but it is a Korean drama set in an international school, so you have all of these different characters from all over the world and how they relate to each other. I'm dressed like this not because I want to throw on all my Korean drama paraphernalia, but because I am inspired by my favorite character, which is Minnie, okay? Well, we'll decide if she's my favorite character. Whatever happened in the season finale, we are going to need to talk about Minnie, me and you. But she is a lover. She's from Thailand. She's a lover of all things that are Korean drama and Korean based. So I have my I Purple You beanie on for BTS, my Uncanny Counter Korean drama shirt, you know, her signature blonde hair, like the little jewels that she has under her eyes. I really tried to embody her while we did this review. But I have taken the liberty of watching it all in one day, with a drink in hand and writing and taking copious notes. So one moment. So the main characters are, there's Minnie, Carson, Hans, Sewon, Jamie, Hyunin, and Sam and Terrace. They're all from different places. Minnie's from Thailand, Carson's from the US, so is Jamie. Hyunin is from Korea himself, so is Sewon. Hans is from Germany. Terrace is from Trinidad and Tobago, and Sam is from Australia. All of these characters are having to reside in each other in the same dorm in college. Really, our catalyst for the story is Jamie. He's the new guy. He is American, but he looks Korean, so like he's a Korean American, and he comes and he gets conned by this girl, Sewon, who's supposed to be the RA for this dorm. She's in charge of all of these people, but really she's a scam artist. The show is a sitcom. It's very much one of those, not slice of life, but it's very much built as like a Friends kind of a sitcom, where it's like all these people, all these characters in wacky situations, like The Office, and like, you know, those kind of things that you get, like Family Matters, those kinds of shows. Rather than 100% bank on the storylines that carry through, we're gonna try and break it down character by character. I wanted to watch this show because Hyunin, I love him. He's a model. He was very tall, I guess. He's a model. I saw him on Knowing Brothers originally. I also saw like a bunch of stuff. Obviously, he's Korean, but he's black, and that always interests me because, you know, as a black person, I don't find that there are a lot of other races that like me. Not to be like saying all races have a problem with other races, but like, it's inherent that like some people don't like black people, and like there've been obvious like cultural appropriation, a lot of stuff. So he interests me, obviously, and he seems like a very sweet kid. He seems very like nice, and I always want to root for him. There's this video of him online. He's with Sam, and they're listening to Nigerian music, and it is so funny, and it's so cute because it's like he's like chilling with black people in Korea. It really warmed my heart. If I find it, I'll put it here, but it really did.
Like me cause I'm from New York. I ain't the brother tryna holla cause I was red. I'm the brother tryna holla cause I was red.
He's the reason why I found this. Really. We're gonna go through character by character, who I love. We're doing tiers of who I love, who I don't, and why. Essentially, all of this is the story of how Jamie and Sewon, who is the RA, end up getting together. Obviously, they're the obvious love interest. Sam and Minnie also get together. You get to see all these different characters. I have a clear ranking system of which ones I love and hate. Now, I can't tell if this show is... I think I went into the show wanting it to be good, but also being very hypersensitive, because when you're involving other cultures without doing proper research, it could tend to come off as caricature-y or, you know, like bad.
We can't even agree on Black Lives Matter. That's a controversial statement. Black lives matter. Not matters more than you, just matters. Matters. Just matters. That's where we're starting the negotiations.
Are you a Jamaican?
I'm original Korean.
안녕하세요. I'm from Nigeria.
We are Jamaica family.
Yeah, we a Jamaican family.
A la 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 long.
Oh, la 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 la.
A la 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 long long long.
Like, again, we go back to Backstreet Rookies. So there's obviously that chance, but it's under Netflix, so I was like, maybe there's a chance it'll be fine. I don't think that will happen. So I was like very weary, and like even in the second episode, like I was watching and I saw like a swastika earring, but then I realized that I went to Twitter. Twitter informed me, here's a tweet, Twitter informed me that it has to do with Buddhism, which is really great to know, and I'm glad that person checked me in a sweet and kind way. But yeah, so obviously I was very hypersensitive. And then after that scenario with episode 2, I went back and I was like, all right, let me just start from episode 1 again, watch everything, and take this lens of, I will take off both my rose-colored goggles and my like hypersensitive, culture appropriating, you know, sensitive person goggles as well. So I'll watch it as just a viewer. And I grew to super love it. I think that the thing that made me keep watching is that I wanted to love these characters, but I hated them. There is at no point that there was one character that I did not hate for at least one scene. Sewon is our hero, I guess, and she, as you get to know her more, like, I like understand her character more, but I still hate her. Like, I still disliked her at the very beginning, and none of that dislike changed when I knew her backstory. In fact, it got even more confusing in Harry, because like, she's essentially does this thing where she scams international students.
벌점 같은 것도 없고 아무도 모르게 처리해준 대신에 수수료 B가 조금 발생하지.
안지비지하니까 오케이 콜 따져. 비 얼마야?
Because she needs to make money. Like, obviously, there's a whole backstory to that as to why she needs to make money that you should go and check out. But she tends to scam them out of money because she likes money and she needs money. But like, when you get to know her backstory, which is like has to do with fraud and her dad and her mom, it doesn't make any more sense, because she's essentially scamming people as though just like her father did, who she resents for scamming people. So it doesn't make sense to me. But again, she's our main character. We're supposed to like her. Jamie. I liked him more as we went on, and I think that's what was supposed to happen for all of these characters. I think the way that the story built all of these characters was that so they were somewhat unlikable, but you did want to see where their stories went. First, we're going to start with the characters that I hated and go all the way to the characters that I loved. Because that's the only way we can really get through this. Bear with me, guys. So we're going to start with Hans. Because I hated him. He was my least favorite character. He was the only character that I never at any point liked or cared for. I understand that he was vital for the story. You needed to have a stickler. You needed to have someone who was kind of that unyielding. But I just didn't like him as a character. I think the actor did a phenomenal job playing him. But I never clearly understood his motives as a character. He was very much a by-the-book kind of guy. But all that by the bookness was just underlying selfishness.
맞네. 그걸 누구 좋으라고 다 놔둬.
내일 당장 가서 박살 내고 오자. 어?
아, 좋아. 당장 가야지.
야, 오버하지 마. 왜 남의 애정 문제는 니들이 난리야? 헤어지든 사귀든 지들 문제인데 왜 니들이 끼어들긴?
야, 내가 말했지. 네가 이래서 친구가 없는 거라고. 이 인정머리 없는 놈아.
나는 남의 사생활에 개입하지 않는 게 원칙이야.
하슬이 남이야? 을이라고 개똥만큼도 없는 을.
개똥이 아니라 쥐똥이야, 쥐똥.
근데 네가 카슨한테 빌려준 이문세 1집 LP판 그거 김병장한테 빌려줬다던데 돌려받았어?
It had nothing to do with him actually caring about the rules. It always ended up having to do with him being selfish. He was the most selfish character there was in that thing, and I'm just gonna say it, white men be crazy. Like, it just was, he rubbed me the wrong way constantly. He was rude to his friends. He was always trying to snitch on somebody. He was okay breaking the rules when it only benefited him. He was just a genuinely terrible person. And I don't know why they were friends with him. Next up, we have Sewon. So, Sewon, she falls under I hated her to start off with. And then I started to more than like her, understand her a little bit as we moved on. And then after she kind of, around episode 6 or 7, I started to like her because that's when she started to like have feelings for Jamie. Through her feelings for Jamie, she becomes a more likable character. I usually don't like when female characters like are only more likable through their male counterparts' eyes, but for her it seemed to work. She basically was rich, and then her father went to jail for fraud. Her mother has creditors, so creditors are always coming and looking for her at her school. So she lives a very hard life, which is understandable. And it's understanding why she likes money so much. But it just the way that she went about like scamming these kids really rubbed me the wrong way off the jump. She scams Jamie in the first episode, who is supposed to be her eventual love interest. It's just like, he's fine with it, so I shouldn't be upset. But I just didn't like that for her as a character. As I got to see more of her family life.
나 엄마 인생 봐서 너무 잘 알아. 그러니까 넌 제대로 잡으라고. 휘청이도 끄떡없을 놈을.
엄마가 그게 딸한테 할 소리야? 비싼 옷 차려입고 돈 많은 남자 잡아가지고 빨대 꽂고 살라고? 진짜 원해 그걸?
그래, 원해. 빨대 좀 꽂으면 어때? 걔 정도면 좀 빨아먹어도 아무 티도 안 낼 부잣집 아들일 텐데 뭘.
걔가 뭐 미쳤다고 나 같은 거 천하나 본데.
뭐? 네가 뭐가? 어디가 어때서? 따지고 보면 걔 고아야. 운 좋게 있는 집에 입양 간 것뿐이지. 스카스게 뭐라고? 비교나 돼? 우리가 널 얼마나 귀하게 키웠는데 네가 얼마나 사랑받고 자란 줄 알아?
차라리 고아가 나. 고아는 엄마가 이렇게 괴롭히진 않지. 엄마 아빠가 나 버린 거나 뭐가 달라? 차라리 버리지 그랬어. 아예 모르는 게 낫지. 사기꾼 딸 소리 듣고 빚쟁이 찾아오는 것보다 낫겠다.
And like there's this scene where she's drunk talking to Hyunmin's mom.
난 우리 애들 위해서 불구덩이도 뛰어든다. 아무리 그래도 남들이 욕해요. 남들한테 안 창피하세요? 남들이 뭐 밥 먹여주냐? 너무들 남들 눈치를 봐. 남들이 뭐라 할까봐, 남들이 뭐 어쩔까봐, 남 부끄럽지 않게, 남 부럽지 않게, 남 못지 않게, 남, 그놈의 남. 그래. 부모가 남 부끄럽지 않게 돈 많이 벌어서 남 부러울 만큼 돈 잘 대주면 그게 책임을 다하는 거니?
아니요.
저는 절대로 애 안 낳을 거고요. 결혼도 안 할 거고요. 사람 안 믿어요. 사람은 더 안 믿고.
I liked that parts of her character more, and she went from me completely hating her to being like a matey kind of character. She like lived in between that uncanny valley. Towards the end of the season, I would say she truly shined as a character. But even then, a lot of her motives are like very selfish and from self-preservation because she has trust issues. So understandable, well-rounded. But just because she's well-rounded doesn't mean I need to like her. Also, who falls under that in-between area, the same in-between area as her, is Sam. Sam is from Australia. He is a Korean Australian. His dad owns like a company, a conglomerate of some sort. He's annoying. He's just annoying. He's just annoying and immature. And yes, every cast, like, especially he's the Joey of the cast. That's what it is. He is the Joey of Friends. The Joey of the so not worth it family.
Okay, buddy boy, here it is. You hide my clothes, I'm wearing everything you own.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yes. 뭐 하는 짓이야?
선생님, 진정하고 좀만 참으세요. 빅뱅가 기다리고 있다고 정신 차려.
It makes sense. It's understandable. But the thing that is different between Joey and him is that Joey had more time to be likable, while Sam was like in episodes to be annoying and irrational.
이러네. 아니 미니가 쏘기로 한 거니까 미니 덕이지? 이 밴딩스.
네가 마음 못되게 쓰니까 하늘이 안 도와준 거야. 알아?
내가 뭐 어쨌다고.
And then dipped out. Like, he was not there enough to make him lovable. Through his relationship with Minnie, you see him a little bit more and you kind of like him a little bit more, especially when they go through, there's like a scene where they do this like egg battle, which is just cringe-worthy. Super cute, but cringy.
가자 애기야.
애기 갈게요.
그럼 우리 애기도 가볼까요?
가요.
아우. 내가 왜 민니를 좋아하는지 안 궁금해?
너무 안 궁금해.
그래? 그럼 말지 뭐.
그러니까 네가 그런 거야. 나 그래도 엄청 좋았어.
그만 말하고. 저것들이 진짜 끝이 없어.
아이 니들 꽁냥거리는 거 1시간째 듣다가 토 나올 것 같아.
It's a hard knock life for that kid. Now we're going to the maybe column. So the maybe column, we're going to start with human. I thought I would like his character so much more, and I'm so disappointed that I don't, because I think that a lot of his story basically was that he's not an international student, but he commutes so far that he ends up staying at the dorm, and like, you know, so he has to like, you know, sneak around and like stay at the dorm and whatever. I liked his character. He was goofy. He was fun. If I had to give him a friend character, it would be the Phoebe of the group, because he was just a little bit weird and off-kiltered with like strange stories with their family. Like,
현민이 뭐 짝사랑하고 뭐 그런 건 아니지?
아니에요. 저 눈 높거든요.
저도요. 야! 우리 현민이도 눈 높아. 솔직히 까놓고 여기서 내가 제일 예쁘잖아.
엄마 좀.
내가 현미모 하지. 우리 현민이도 나 닮아서 예쁘잖아. 고마운 줄 알아, 새끼야.
He had a song number, so he's literally the Phoebe of the group. It is cool. Like, it's fine. He's like a fine character. He doesn't do anything to annoy. He's a good friend. He's clean. He ends up with a kind of shaved head at the end. But I do like the way they built his character. I like that he was not portrayed as an international student just because he was black. No, he was born in Korea. He is Korean.
Help me, please. 뭐? 저 한국말로 해. 한국말 잘하네, 흑인인데? 나 한국 사람이야. 한국말로 해.
저 담배 좀 사주실래요? 두 값 사고 잔돈은 가셔야 돼요.
진짜? 알았어. 이럴 줄 알았지.
And he even goes to the Korean military at the end, or he has to do his deferment for the Korean military at the end. So I like that they based him off of actually him. Whatever he was doing wasn't directly correlated to the main storyline unless it was like his episode, like the episode with the shoes. I do appreciate him. I think he's a phenomenal actor. I didn't think he would act that well, but he's a phenomenal actor.
어떡하냐고! 내 평생 처음으로 가져본 내가 진짜 갖고 싶은 거였는데 내가 뭘 좋아하는지도 모르고 뭘 갖고 싶은지도 모르고 생각하면서
I think that the song number was super cheesy, but I enjoyed it. I liked when they went to go see his mom in the countryside. It was super cute. And I like his little catchphrase that he does.
뭐난 그렇다? 우리 엄마 진짜 반성 좀 해야 돼. 리스야, 난 그렇다? 난 그렇다? 아무 생각 없었는데 나 겁나 불쌍한 것 같아.
I like that everyone kind of has somewhat of a catchphrase. I love his super little cute catchphrase. So that's for him. Another one who's in the maybe is Terrace. Terrace is the Trinidad and Tobago character, the student who's from Trinidad. He's very smart. He's often classified as a playboy. Let me tell you why I put him as a maybe. Terrace could have honestly been one of my favorite characters, but there's two reasons why he can't be. Because one, he's barely in it for a lot of it. Like, he's not there often. Like, if the character is not Sewan or Jamie, it's they're like sometimes barely in it, and that's what it feels like. Even though you know you're watching the story, but that's what it kind of feels like. So one, he was like not there a lot of the times. And then two, they kept calling him a playboy. I feel like maybe I missed something in the beginning, but like he seemed to have like a steady girlfriend.
빤히 알면서 어떻게 가로챌 수가 있냐고. 명색이 절친한 놈이 이 쓰레기 새끼야. 아니 그게 아니라고. 아니 난 너랑 연결시켜주려고 했다고. 근데 너보다 내가 좋다고 덤비는데 어쩌라고.
내가 먼저 덤볐다고? 이게 진짜 다 좋아하냐고 묻기를 해? 네? 그랬더니 자기가 술 취하면 개 된다고 보여주겠다고 꼬셔가지고 밤새 소주 5병을 먹인 놈이 누군데?
아 진짜 나쁜 놈이네. 아예 처음부터 가로채려고 작정을 하고 있었네.
And then he broke up with her, obviously. It's like, it felt like saying instead of doing. It was very much, it wasn't until the end where they like started to try and like give you physical evidence that Terrace was actually a playboy. It just felt like they kept saying he was a playboy without actually showing us. Another character arc that Terrace went through at the very end, and literally I was like, why are there no gay people? And then Terrace ends up in this kind of pseudo relationship with this dude that's like kind of a thing but not a thing, but leads me to love my favorite character even more. Like not Terrace, but someone else. I do like that story arc. I would love to see where it goes with season 2. It seems like they're building him up to be a way better character for season 2. I just wish they would have started that build up sooner rather than like middle and then start building up.
잠깐만. 커피 주문하고 올게.
Used to think that I could never be enough. Had everybody running me for something. Things I didn't want to do, things I didn't even want. And time again, I was let down. Time again, my heart ended up in the ground. And I don't ever wanna feel that way again. It's now or never, and I choose to live.
So those are the two that are really in the maybe. Jamie, like, I love Jamie, but he's also kind of a maybe for me. He's the son of a Hollywood actress, Barbara Houston, not Whitney Houston. Barbara Houston. He's very sweet, but also silent, kind of stoic, kind of reserved with himself. But as you get to know his backstory about being the son of a Hollywood starlet, you understand why he's super reserved and like closed off a little bit.
우리만큼은 아니지. 멋지잖아.
제이미, 너 요새 점점 얄미워지고 있는 거 알지?
나는 개인적으로 제이미가 입 닫고 있을 때가 훨씬 괜찮았던 것 같아.
맞아, 입 터지고 말이 너무 많아.
He just wants to be a normal person, and understand where he comes from, and you know, just be with the woman that he loves. Like, that's just what he wants to do. He's very smart, he's very intelligent, very quiet.
내가 게이인지 아닌지 나도 아직까지 정확히 알진 못하지만 그렇다고 니들이 내 섹슈얼 아이덴티티를 미리 정해줄 필요는 없지 않을까?
아니 그게 아니.
그리고 세환, 너 내 프라이버시에 대해 떠들지 말아달라고 그렇게 부탁했는데 이런 근거 없는 소문까지 내는 건 무슨 이유야? 뭐 돈 안 갚았다고 이러는 거야?
야, 뭔 소리야? 내가 뭘 그렇게 떠들고 다녔다고?
제발 내 얘기 좀 그만하고 다녔으면 좋겠다.
And super cool, and you do grow to love his character, and he does have a few doink moments, but like what character doesn't in a sitcom?
나만의 It's you 눈 감아도 네가 느껴져 달빛 쏟아지는 이 밤에 너와 단둘이 있으면 꿈꾸는 것 같아 너의
아줌마 정말 너무하네요. 세환이가 무슨 죄가 있다고 이러세요?
누구야? 세환이 친구니?
그렇지 않아도 정말 힘들게 사는 애한테 이게 무슨 짓이에요?
뭘 들어요, 이게.
이 손 놓고 얘기하시죠. 싫다잖아요. 싫다는 사람한테 억지로 이러는 거 이거 폭력이에요. 야, 가자. 안 돼.
Never got my way, but I will someday. Never far away. See, I never got my way.
Minnie was a character that I loved, but then she moved to maybe. I loved Minnie because she was a complete and utter psychopath. Like, when I say that in the best way possible. She was from Thailand. She was in love with all these different Korean culture things. Like, she loved the food. She loved Korean drama. She loved the music. She was awesome. She was a sweetheart. She was a little bit of a flirty and flighty. There's like the scene where she talks about like
뭐? 니니가 오디션에 합격했다고?
응, 연습생 계약도 했어. 내일부터 연습하러 오래.
오, 대박. 쌤 오디션 구경한다고 따라가더니 네가 됐어, 어떡해?
아니, 옆에서 오디션 구경하는데 쌤이 춤을 너무 못 춘 거임. 쏙 터져서 그냥 대신 춤 좀 춰줬더니 사장님이 내가 마음에 쏙 든다네.
일수 같네. 오늘부터 그 연습 시작한 거 아니었어?
나 연습생 관뒀어.
뭐?
왜? 혼나래?
SNS도 못하고 먹고 싶은 것도 못 먹고 언제까지 그러고 살아. 게다가 본격적으로 데뷔 준비하면 학교도 그만둬야 된대. 내가 아이돌 되려고 한국에 온 거 아니거든? 결정적으로는 연애 금지래. 쉣!
아, 연애 금지는 정말 치명적이긴 하다. 특히 너한테.
being herself and how she came to Korea to find Dick, basically, and it's super hilarious. She also like tries to handcuff herself to a dude because she thinks he reminds her of the guy from Descendants of the Sun because he's the same name, which is super funny. So I liked her a lot. And then there's that whole cheating arc that may or may not be happening at the very end. I do not know, again, if I maybe missed something, but like for some reason she might be cheating on Sam, who is her boyfriend right now. And I don't like that. I don't condone cheating. I do not like cheaters. And it will disappoint me greatly, Minnie, if that is what you were doing. So I do like her as a character. I do think that she's super funny, super bubbly.
웃기는데 뭐가 진짜인지 몰라도 맨날 딱 붙어 다녀. 파리한테 소개한 거잖아. 관상 좋아진다고 수술하라고.
아니 도대체 뭐가 불만이야? 아 관상 좋아. 야 이뻐졌다 야.
아이씨, 그때 넌 필러 빼느라 얼마나 개고생한지 알아? 그리고 나랑 사귀면서 내 친구랑 양다리 걸쳐.
무슨 소리야, 사귀다니.
사진을 본 일주랑 이 새끼랑 사귀었거든. 씨발 이놈을 줘 내가 빨리.
터프한데.
뭐야, 교도소라니. 가만. 깜빵이면 그 슬기로운 깜빵 생활 그 깜빵?
그렇지.
A little self-centered, a little ditzy, but like well-meaning. She's a well-meaning character and a good friend. I just don't know if she's a good girlfriend, and I really hope that she is. Last, we have Carson. Carson is by far my favorite character. She's American. I believe she's from LA or I don't know where she's from, but she's American. She came to Korea to be with her boyfriend.
요새 태양이 후에 보고 많이 흥분했나 봐. 파트너 딱 봐도
He is doing his military service. Essentially, her storyline is that she's kind of sloppy, really smart, kind of sloppy.
네가 따본 거야. 둘 다 태국 사람인데 왜 한국말로 싸우냐고. 아이씨, 다 알아듣니까 짜증나.
Real dirty, loves food, really in love with her boyfriend. About midway to halfway, to close to the end of the season.
저희 배달 안 시켰나? 저기요. 잠깐 내 말 좀.
왜 내 전화 안 받아? 왜?
아니 저기 내 말 좀.
그리고 저 여자가 왜 내 옷을 입고 있어?
그게 그러니까 진정하고 내 말
야, 이
좀.
나쁜 새끼야!
She's kind of annoyed about it, and she doesn't know how to process these emotions. And you see how adult she is about the breakup, but you also kind of like feel like she still feels unresolved in it.
하구나 뭐 매달려 온 거 아니니까 쫄지 말고.
그래 어서 말해.
네가 다른 여자를 사랑하는 거 그럴 수도 있어. 근데 나하고 먼저 정리를 하고 했어야지. 양다리는 나에 대한 예가 아니잖아. 그러니까 나한테 딱 한 대만 맞자.
She ultimately helps Terrace kind of figure out that he should follow his heart when it comes to his sexuality, which is really nice of her. And I just really do relate and love to her character because she's genuinely a good friend.
내 자신을 내가 속이는 건 내 마음이잖아. 그 사람이 왜 나를 사랑하는지는 몰라도 내가 왜 그를 사랑하는지는 분명 알 수 있거든. 내 옆에 있어주고 내 생각해주고 내가 외로울까봐 막 무서울까봐 걱정해주고 내가 힘들고 지칠 때 잘한다 잘한다 해주고 그럼 붙잡아야지.
이걸 여기 어떻게 알고 왔어?
야, 이 사람들 사기꾼이야. 바보야, 조선님이 어쩌고 하면서 진짜 핑계로 사기치는 거라고.
그래, 야 한국 잘한다고 잘한 척다 하더니 이런 거 왜 몰라?
뭐야, 진짜야?
당신들 지금 뭐 하는 거야 지금? 오긴 우리 애 친구거든. 어디 할 짓이 없어서 외국인들 눈탱이를 치고 그래. 나라 망치는 거 몰라? 그래, 알바비 아직 안 털렸지?
맞다, 저 족보는 내가 산 건데.
빨리 내줘, 내.
갑자기 커플 선언? 그봐 둘이 잘 어울린다고 그렇게 말해도 아니라고 지랄하고.
딱 하나만. 니들 진짜 사귀는 거 맞아?
응, 맞아.
나도 물어보려고 그랬는데.
뭐야, 사겨?
야 사귀고 안 사귀고 그게 중요한 게 아니고 많이 혼란스럽지. 이 누나가 인생과 연애의 선배로서 충고해주자면 그냥 마음 가는 대로 하는 게 제일이더라. 그냥 네 마음 가는 대로. 일섭 씨. 어우 나 오늘 너무 많이 마신 것 같아. 일섭 씨 오늘 고마워. 나 먼저 들어갈게. 야 테리스. 일섭 배운 좀 해줘. 어?
갈까? 파티 재밌었어?
예병 잡히기만 해봐. 온몸의 뼈를 입만 조각으로 만들어줄 테니까. 아이고 공주님 모시고 다니는 시종들이네 완전.
Who wants to eat. That's just it. She's a good friend who wants to eat.
딸이잖아. 맞아. 쟤 열받으면 눈에 보이는 게 없어 진짜. 전에 학생이.
I can't say that I dislike this series at all. I think that episode 1, I did not like any of these characters. But by episode 12, I was feeling for all of them. I was like, except for Hans again. I was feeling for all of them. Even Hans, he has his bathroom scene that, like, I'm like, okay, maybe. But, like, I felt for all of them at some point. So it's almost more impressive to make me like characters I thought I hated. So, I mean, kudos to you for that. I think it's really smartly done. I think it's interesting. I think that it's fun. And that's what it's supposed to be. They break the fourth wall sometimes with the product placement mentioned, and then like just talking to the audience. Like, I didn't think he'd get this far as season 1. It's really interesting. There's some really smart comedy in there that is really interesting and really native to Korean dramas as well. It feels like a really good mix of Korean drama and just like a dash of like other cultures, but without like being offensive to other cultures, if you get what I'm saying. I really appreciate that in that regard. I think some of the storytelling is great. I knew from the jump Sewon and Jamie were going to get together. I wish that was a little bit smoother. Minnie and Sam, I was rooting for them from the beginning, even though I didn't like Sam that much. But I really wish we would have saw how they got together on camera as opposed to off camera. And yeah, I think that it's really cute, and I hope that everyone enjoys it and watches it. I think it's smart and interesting how they somehow created both a really fun show and also shows that have some pretty interesting and layered scenes.
그냥 그런 인생 성형이라고 할 수도 있는 거지. 그래도 한국은 너무 과해. 못생긴 게 죄가 되는 건 그게 말이 안 되지. 오빠 잘생겼어. 오빠 사랑해요. 오빠 같이 주세요. 오빠 잘생겼어요. 오빠 내일은 진짜 잘 보세요. 오빠 사랑해요. 야, 쟤 너보다 어려 이년아.
늘 소개해달라고 그랬어.
뭐야? 한국 사람이라고 차별하는 거야 지금?
편하게 즐겁게 얘기 나누면 되죠 뭐. 그 마음 충분히 이해해요. 사람 때문에 아파하는 건 저도 마찬가지라서 일종의 동병상련.
일섭 씨도 저처럼?
아니요. 전 아직 시작도 못했거든요. 오래전부터 좋아하는데 말도 못 꺼내고 거절당할까 봐서.
Also, shout out to the Knowing brothers. Love that Sugun was a fortune teller. I think that's hilarious. And then love the little Kang Ho-dong moment.
아니야, 엑스맨 유재석? 강우동? 자, 이렇게 되면
If I'm going to rate it a drink, I'm probably going to give it a shot of soju. Duh! I'll take a shot of soju. I'm sorry. I don't think this has been very helpful. I think this has actually been very chaotic, and I don't know how I'm going to edit this. If I somehow edit it properly, you'll probably see it. But with that being said, I think it's rated a shot of soju, probably strawberry soju. And that's it. I recommend you go watch it. I mean, it's a fun time. If you just watch it as a regular Korean drama, it is a fun time. I'm yummy.com. Don't worry, I will be back, so stay tuned, internet friends. Duh!